He's trying everything he can to entertain you guys. Look what he's wearing. He'll be the jester for those views, baby.
I'll do anything for the views, baby.
Welcome to the Full Fat Podcast. I am Matt Whittle, and I am joined by Charlie Lilly and Sheriff Snyder himself for the first time ever. Welcome, Sheriff.
Canon, Batman eats pussy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give him a round of applause.
Everybody, that was Zack Snyder.
That's Sheriff Snyder to you, Charlie.
I'm sorry, the Sheriff. I'm sorry, Lord Sheriff Snyder.
Lord
You see, it's funny because the truth is I'm actually Dave Filoni, but you didn't know that.
Oh, I did. I've got a picture of you as Dave Filoni, actually.
You do have a pretty good picture of me as Dave Filoni. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I can't unsee it, and I don't think I can shag Dave Filoni.
Well, the Dave Filoni right now. You know what? I would definitely take being Dave Filoni over being myself.
Yeah.
It's a pretty fantastic existence. I get to write Star Wars all day.
It's true.
And wear a hat, and nobody finds it weird for some reason. It's just a thing. Is it the part of America he's from? Is it more of a cultural thing?
I don't know. America seems to get away with things like that. Don't they?
I don't know why.
The cowboy hat. Is it the Texan thing?
I mean,
I don't know why Dave Filoni's not Sheriff Filoni, because he's
Sheriff
the one with
Filoni.
the hat.
That is true.
Yeah.
Well, there's only one sheriff. That's Sheriff Snyder, of course. So, I mean, I guess they could like duke it out, like a duel of the fates.
Yeah, I could see it.
Sheriff Snyder v Sheriff Filoni. Day versus night.
Who do you think would win?
Day.
Who are you placing your bets on, Sheriff Snyder or Sheriff Filoni?
Well, Snyder, I've only seen him lift weights, but he's a pretty athletic man. I'll be willing to bet he knows like some sort of fighting styles, even at an amateur level. Filoni, he doesn't seem like he knows anything, but as Charlie likes to say, so you never know. You see, speaker, it's the punch you're not looking for that hits you. Brent.
It's the punch you're not looking for that hits you.
No, was it? It's the punch. Was it you say? The punch you're not...
the punch you can't see is the one that knocks you out.
The punch you can't see, there we go, yeah. It was the punch you can't see, speaker.
See, I think he knows like at least Form 4. Do you know what I mean? So...
Filoni?
Yeah. He'll have like the Obi-Wan Kenobi style.
I also think
imagining it more
Filoni's
like a street
scrappy.
You thought this was going to be a street fight?
I think Filoni's scrappy.
I think Filoni would like jump onto the ceiling and he'd have like different tricks and stuff, and that's how he'd master, he'd conquer
spells.
Oh wow, we've got a special guest coming into the house. It's Mr. Sean Grimsley.
Oh
live
my
on the Full
goodness.
Fat Podcast.
What up, podcasters?
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting you with ringing the bell.
How you doing? It's funny because he actually was expressing his need to be a guest on the podcast.
That's true.
And now he's here.
That's true.
Now I've featured.
Yeah.
Hello.
How you doing?
This bit's getting cut then.
We're about to talk about Loki. Have you seen it?
I haven't watched it yet, no.
Oh no.
If you want to see more Sean, guys, you can see him on Your Favourite Film Was Awful.
You can
this
see when
week,
your favourite film was awful.
where we'll be talking about Luca. Oh my god.
Directed by Ryan Johnson.
It's like Ethan Hawke's in the room.
Ethan Hawke's in the room. Yeah, I feel like we should get Charlie to reenact the Knives Out 2 set photos, and we'll get Sean's Ethan Hawke, and he can be Dave Bautista. You got the chops, Richard.
I don't feel I could be half the man Dave Bautista is.
You are probably literally half the man Dave Bautista.
Literally.
A little 1-inch man saved us.
But I am also a dream maker. I am also a dream chaser. So a fellow dream
You
chaser.
It's really hard trying to co-manage this podcast and entertain Sean, who's in the room at the same time. How am I doing?
Should we hit a pause?
You can cut this bit, Charlie.
No. Let's just keep it all
let's keep rolling,
wriggling.
I've
As gone
done.
we want.
I bought
needs
the
to keep
footage,
going.
but you're clearly too busy to transfer it right now, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah. This is the issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll keep hold of it.
Please do.
Look cool, Teri.
People are like, what's the footage for? People have to.
I had my
leave it
hair
a mystery.
cut today.
They'll find out. They'll find out.
It's true. It's true.
Courtesy of Black Belt magazine. Is that right, Charles?
It is indeed. It is indeed.
Ooh, interesting teaser.
It was really funny because
Right, I'll leave you to
Charlie
it.
got a
Oh, cool.
T-shirt that said black belt. Oh, Sean's talking, so we can't use it for the podcast.
That is funny that you mentioned Sean. before we
Remember,
started.
family.
Now he's in there.
It's like I
For the people listening right now,
read it in the stars.
I've not got a clue what's going on, have they? They're like, what? All
Sean
these
Grimsley
voices?
crashed the Full Fat podcast party, and it was electric.
Okay.
And he's up to left. He's out the building now.
Wonderful.
But yeah, catch him on your favourite film is awful.
I was
gotta
just
do.
about to tell the story of Charlie at the weekend, who was walking around in a Black Belt magazine T-shirt, but from a distance, it just looked like it said Black Belt.
I know.
So he just looked like an absolute narcissist.
I know.
Oh, what? Like it was like he needs to tell people he's a black belt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
I
concerned
feel the
about
same. I
it.
need to tell
Funny.
people I'm Star Trek. I just can't.
No, but the best part about the Star Trek T-shirt is, Matt, could you just put your hand up a sec? Just point up. Just point up a little bit. Just,
What?
Yeah, you go.
Yeah.
Just reach as high as you can into the sky.
Reach for the
Yeah.
stars,
you
mate.
got to reach for the sky. This is,
Oh. Yeah, it's like it's the
it's supposed to
style.
be
It's
like
how the kids wear it.
It's true.
It's
It's
how the
very
kids
like-
wear it these days.
It's very
It's
like 2000s,
antiperspirant.
isn't it? It's got like that
Look,
kind of
guys,
ripped
look.
jeans look.
Look. I took almost a month off. The Borderlands video didn't pop. The Fast and Furious video didn't pop. All right, this is what they've done to me. All
Look
right?
what they've
this
done
is
to
where
the
I'm at.
man.
All right.
Look what you've done to the man. Look
You're
at
turning me into the fucking Hulk, alright? So, please, for the love of God, alright? The next video is Marvel and Doctor Who related, alright? So you fuckers. I'm begging you. Please watch it.
He's trying everything he can to entertain you guys. Look what he's wearing. He'll be the jester for those views, baby.
I'll do anything for the views, baby.
Oh, no. Okay, I'm going to go back to being Matt Whittle. I'm going to steer this podcast. I'm going to
Cool.
steer this ship. And I'm going to move us on to our main topic this week, and that is Loki.
Can I be Terry Merkin for a bit then?
Sure, if you want to, but don't be mean.
Take this ridiculous thing off. I'm going to keep the bolo tie on.
Okay. Is that what I'd wear?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're like, woo! That was a video podcast only joke. You'll have to go to the Full Fat Podcast YouTube channel to catch that joke.
Oh, those poor listeners.
Those poor listeners, I think thankful listeners, if anything.
Yeah, to be fair. Charlie, would you like to synopsize this week for us?
What, of Loki?
Yeah.
Is it my turn? But you're the
Yes.
host. The host usually does the synopsis plot
No,
of Loki. You trying to
because
palm it off
Teri
to
had
me?
to do it last week.
No, you
and
had to do
Teri
it
got
for
flustered.
the film that you'd seen.
Can I just say I thought the acting
the
this week
Loki.
was really good. That was me being Terry.
That was
Yep.
one of my points
Yep.
today.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Oh.
Fantastic.
Am I that predictable? I need to shake it up.
No.
No, not at all. No. But you also go to talk about how great Tom Hiddleston is, and his performance.
I think, guys, because we need to synopsize this plot.
We do,
Daddy's back in the room. Daddy's taking over. It's Matt Whittle here, baby. All right. He's got to step in and take control of the kids. We can't even get to the synopsis for Loki.
I tried. You were being naughty.
Look,
Hey, I
it's
can
okay.
do some snopping. If you want me to snopping, I can snop.
Look. Much like the Jeff Winger of the group, the leadership role has been reluctantly thrust upon me, and I suggest, cue music, that we each say a sentence of the plot, and we'll go around in a circle, counterclockwise, and we'll get there in the end. How do you feel about that?
No,
So-
I demand justice because I had to synopsize.
But
We
like,
all had
I
to
don't think Charlie's
synopsise.
up to it. It's not really fair to force him, is it? It's not really fair. I believe last week we met Loki and Sylvie on Lamentis 1, and it had all gone tits up, and they were sat there waiting for the apocalypse to happen, and they were facing certain doom. Which leads us to...
this week, where we find that Sylvie was taken by the TVA from a young child.
She was taken from a young child. Well, a young child looking after
Wait,
her.
shit. When she was a young child. She was taken away when she was a young child by the TVA.
Okay, the real daddy's back. I'm Matt Whistler again. Teri, it's your turn. Go.
Oh, that's very clever. I just thought the acting in that scene was incredible. Just really from like a... I just feel like they really got across their intentions really well. Yes, obviously, we found out Sylvie's backstory, and they thought they were going to face certain doom, and then just as it appeared like they might be falling for each other, the ultimate narcissists that are the Lokis, the TVA find them, capture them, and then we sort of get a bit of a... we get some guessing games, some reindeer games going on at the TVA as Loki gets locked in a torturous time cell, and he tells Owen Wilson that he is a variant, which is what he found out last week, and then...
Is that me? Was that
Yeah!
I can't see because your hand's different to where you're
you
pointing
went
at
second.
Teri.
You went second last time!
So I think it's Matt's turn again.
I feel like you pretty much went off then. I thought you was just gonna finish. I feel like that was enough.
Oh, okay. All right, fine. I'll fish fillet. So Owen Wilson gets killed, presumably. Sylvie and Loki get led to meet the timekeepers. It turns out they are real, or at least you get them like real. And Loki and Sylvie fuck those dudes up at CVA. Oh, and also B15 Hunter B15.
Yep.
She gets her memories back in quite an effective scene, and they find out that the timekeepers are bullshit. They're robots. Who's controlling the timekeepers? And then Loki seemingly gets pruned. Then we find out in a post-credit scene, oh my god, into the Loki-verse. It's incredible. Richard E. Grant, we said, didn't we, Charlie? We wanted Richard E. Grant as Loki. And not only have we gotten it, but we've got him in basically his classic costume. I think the appearance he had in his very first appearance. The outfit in his very first appearance.
I'd just like to add, for audience benefit, that when this happened, Matt was on his knees with his hand in his head. It was quite a sight.
He was. I can confirm this.
I just got to tell you why, because I've suffered through badly written Doctor Who for years now, and this is the closest thing I've come to good Doctor Who, and it's also reminded me what a great character Loki is. And it's also, expanded the horizons of what you can do in the MCU. And the post-credit scene, the beauty of it was that it doesn't need to dominate the conversation. Because once we're done talking about the post-credit scene, we can talk about all the narrative twists and turns of this episode, which were the real thing that left me reeling when the credits started rolling. If there was no post-credit scene, this would still be the best episode of the series. I put it to you.
I agree.
Absolutely. Definitely. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time.
Yeah. Like, I just feel like it's positioned the series in a really good way, pacing-wise, where I'm not sure where it's going to go in these next 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was a little bit worried from episode 3 that maybe we'd start to have that kind of mid-season lull where it stretches out a bit more and then it kind of ends at the TVA. But it seems like we're now going to go like TVA and beyond.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I was really worried last week that I was like, oh, is it going to kind of have a bit of a wet ending like we kind of did with the Falcon Winter Soldier, where we had this great first half of the show and then it kind of had a couple of filler and we were like, oh, where's it going now? I thought it wasn't going this way. I was worried about that. But instead they go, oh no, hold on a minute. You thought this was going to be filler, right? You thought we wasn't going to give you some sort of satisfying ending. Oh, how about we answer all your questions that you've been wondering about and thinking that was going to be the finale right this episode, and then instead give you more questions and go, hold on, this isn't what you got to be worried about. You got to be focused on who the fuck actually is behind the TVA.
Mm-hmm.
The timekeepers actually existed. We saw that from the start. They showed us, and then I thought that was such a great, clever idea to show the timekeepers, and then for them to then just take their heads off and reveal that they're robots, because you're not expecting it, because the reveal that they're even real is enough, and you think, oh sweet, okay, this is cool to see these. Oh wait, no, wait, what, they're fucking robots?
Yeah.
Amazing.
That was
amazing.
really cool.
And I'm talking Kang the Conqueror. Are we talking Kang the Conqueror, Matt? Are we talking that?
I would be surprised if it was anyone other than Kang the Conqueror at this point. Do you know what I mean?
It's got to be, right.
He's the villain that makes the most sense. Isn't the TVA leader, I'm forgetting her name, it's something like Renzor, isn't it? She's supposed to be his girlfriend in the comics. That makes sense. Ravonna, that's it. And he's also going to be in Ant-Man. He's played by the guy...
he's in Lovecraft Country.
He's in Lovecraft Country, Last Black Man in San Francisco. He's a fantastic actor. His name's escaped me. This is terrible. Charlie, please edit his name to come up here.
We will. We'll put pictures,
on the video podcast.
Names,
pictures and names, and all
the stuff.
The whole shebang.
We're also going to add music.
Yeah, we're going to add music as well.
Decided.
It's going to be...
Why not?
Yeah, you know what? We can even cut in a new piece of recorded footage, exclusive for video. So if you're listening to this on audio, you need to... If you want to hear me say the actor's name, you've got to go over to video.
It's true. I'm also going to turn
exclusive.
Matt's camera upside down, just because.
Yes.
And then turn it back
And coming up, my exclusive interview with Harrison Ford. But yeah, I also thought the writing has been consistently strong throughout the whole series, in terms of the dialogue, and this season and this episode it was great as well. Like seeing Lady Sif return.
You, Sif, you conniving, craven, pathetic worm.
In that time cell, and seeing Loki get tortured, and then for him to kind of admit, you know, like his narcissistic traits and just how alone he really is, and for her to, like, even though she's like kind of a computer program, for her to just reinforce that to him, I thought was so sad. And also the line about to be a Loki does it mean you're destined to lose, and for him to kind of say that, but then sort of admit like we survive, we don't die. I was like, that's awesome. That was the line that really made me just think, man, I really like this Loki character, and I'm really glad he's come back to the forefront, and they've really done something really interesting with him. Because he's the front of the litter, isn't he, consistently?
Definitely.
Yes. Yeah. See, I think that your worry last week was misplaced. I thought last week was a great episode. I think it ended in such a good place, because if it had ended like after the Nexus event that they caused, like, I think we'd have guessed what was coming. So I think it ended in a really cool place for me to want to come back this week and be like, oh yes, this is what's happened. And then it was just twists and turns all the way through. The dialogue was fantastic, especially that scene where Loki and Mobius, that's correct, isn't it? Yeah, where he was interviewing him and they were both like lying to each other and manipulating each other. Oh, it was so well written, and then the way it twisted and turned, I was totally in. I thought it was fantastic.
Mobius really had some teeth in this episode. Sorry,
yes.
Charlie,
Really did. Did you not think that, like, I really liked how sort of sad Mobius was that he was like betrayed? Like, even though he was joking over it, I still felt, and I think this is kind of how props to Owen Wilson. There's a sadness when he's saying it where I'm like, I kind of feel like you did like him. He got along with him. They both. Yeah. I do still feel that way. I still feel like they have. That friendship there, and obviously he says to him like, why can you trust me about you being a variant? Because as a friend, that's the only thing we have left for you to trust me, because I'm a Loki, so why would you, sort of thing. And I thought that was nice that he was like, that was enough, because you did. I did buy that as well. So, and I think that's a tough sell with Loki, but I did actually kind of buy it. I do think they enjoyed each other's wits, if that makes sense.
It's interesting because Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson were both interviewed about the end of episode 2, where Loki follows Sylvie into the portal and sort of seemingly betrays them. And Owen Wilson said he felt his character, you know, obviously he got betrayed and it sucked because he trusted Loki and he wanted to believe he was a good person. And Tom Hiddleston said that he didn't see it as he was betraying him. He just saw it as Loki. He feels this compulsive need to know, and he has to find out. And he just went through for that reason because he feels so compelled. And it's not about like Owen Wilson, even though he knows he's letting him down in that moment. I just thought that was really interesting.
But I also agree. I agree with that, and I think that Tom Wilson's right, because I actually felt that when I watched that when he left and went into that portal. I didn't feel like it was him betraying him. I thought it was because he needs to know what this Loki is all about. He needs to know, is he the superior Loki or not? And I think what's great is that the more Lokis we see, the more it's going to prove that maybe he's one of the worst, sort of thing. The less achieved of all of them.
It's fantastic.
I can't wait. Sorry.
Go on, Terry.
I was going to say, I just can't wait to see like what these other Lokis are about, like what their personalities are like, what their powers are going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I'm really intrigued by the big Thor in the back, because he's...
with the hammer.
It's like it's a German name, but it basically translates like he's like the boastful Loki. Yeah. And I really like the idea that like his hammer looks like a kind of a makeshift Mjolnir, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I think that would be cool if he's more of a physical Loki, and then you've obviously got Kid Loki, the crocodile Loki. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and then obviously Sylvie's going to come back into the mix. I'm really excited to see this team up. I'm excited to see more topsy-turvy shenanigans, more time travel stuff, and hopefully it ties up in a satisfying way as one season, but leaves some strands open for another season. Because I could do some more of this.
100%.
Hook it into my veins.
Especially if Mobius is still alive, which I hope he is.
Yeah, like he should be an ongoing character in it. He's great. Their chemistry is fantastic.
Yeah.
And keep Sylvie in too. Like Sylvie could easily have her own bottle episode. When Loki got pruned, I did actually think, the next episode's going to be all from her perspective.
So did I.
Yeah. Possibly, it could be. We could have some of her perspective, some of his perspective.
Like season 2, you could do every episode from a different Loki's perspective, couldn't you? You could do like a Richly Grant episode. Yeah. You could do a boastful Loki episode, Kid Loki episode. Like
I'm just not sure.
Crocodile
I'm not
Loki.
a big fan of unnecessary sequels. I'm not sure it needs it. I like that we're having one and done seasons. You know.
Oh, but with TV, I feel like there's opportunity to tell like a really long form story. And,
I agree.
You know, if it's as long as something's quality and it engages me, and it's got something to say, I'll be here for it. You know what I mean?
I mean, the prime example of that is me and Matt didn't really care for a Loki show when it was first announced. And now,
I suppose
it's our favourite of all three of them so far.
Yeah.
So it just shows if something's good, well written, and justifies its existence, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It would have to seriously drop the ball now, I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
What if it does?
Oh
no.
That would be heartbreaking at this point, because I think it's been really, really stand out. I think it's been fantastic.
More bad Doctor Who. Could you handle that, Matt?
Well, the answer is no, I can't handle more bad Doctor Who because I've stopped watching it. So, no. I genuinely can't. Anymore. But that's okay.
When you say you stopped watching it, though, have you actually not watched the last episode that came out? The Christmas special?
No,
Did you not watch it?
No, I haven't.
That was the last one, wasn't it?
No, and I was a little bit tempted. I thought about it, but like it was really more that kind of still that little shred of hope that it would still be good, and you know, if it wasn't Doctor Who and I'd watched 2 seasons of a show and the second season finale had ended with a twist like it did, I wouldn't have kept watching. So I don't see why I need to have this kind of blind loyalty.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, you know,
and and it's never going to get better unless people stop watching it if it's not good.
Yeah, or until like you know, there's a different creative team behind it.
Yeah,
I would like to see more from Whittaker. I'd like to see more from Joe Martin's Doctor as well, but not really with the current production team or Chris Chibnall. It's just not for me.
It's true.
I'll be back when there's a big change up.
Yeah, I think I feel kind of similar with like this House of Dragons show this coming out, the Game of Thrones spin-off. I feel like if it's not
also
good
Matt Smith.
If it's not good immediately, like if the first 2 episodes aren't complete fire, you know what I mean? I think a lot of people are not going to be invested because of how Game of Thrones ended and stuff.
I think there's a chance it could be fire.
I do as well, and that's why I'm going to watch the shit out of it when it comes out. I'm hoping it really is, especially because justice for our boy Matt Smith. You know, hopefully this year should be the year of Matt Smith to return.
The year of the Smith with
Last Night in Soho. And when's this Game of Thrones? Is it coming out this year or is it next year?
I think it is this year. Yeah.
Okay, I hope so.
I'd also just like to say for the record, like, if really, really strong reviews come out for the start of the next Doctor Who season, I will go back in and watch it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
of course.
If there's a strong enough critical consensus that some sort of course correction has been made, or some more effort has been put in, or the Timeless Child has been retconned, that would get me interested again, honestly. But it would take a lot of that. It would take a real strong critical response to turn that. It can't just be like, oh yeah, it's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. Understandable.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I think so.
Oh, it makes me sad. Honestly, it really does.
Oh, yeah, I can see. But it's okay, Matt, because we have Loki at the moment.
We do have
so
Loki,
far,
and
it's been giving us a lot of Doctor Who-isms, isn't it, Matt?
Yes.
It has. It really has.
It has.
Sylvie, even funnily enough, like kind of broadly seems like the Timeless Child, with Sylvie getting kidnapped and taken by some sort of shadowy organisation. But it's more palatable in this, I suppose, because it's not like they've retconned the character, is it? It's a new character.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it feels earned. It doesn't feel just slapped on, you know.
Yeah, because you meet her as a fugitive.
Yeah.
No, exactly. That makes a lot of sense.
I do have quite a fun point about Loki. You said before that there was an article that we're not going to hear Owen Wilson's signature wow.
Oh, yeah.
But in the episode, he does say how in the exact way he says wow. So I feel like I got it. He was like,
I feel
how?
like we could edit it so we could put the wow in over the how.
Absolutely.
Should we do that? I'll do that right now, and if I haven't, then I'm a lazy bastard, and he'll shame me in the comments.
You edit it while you're doing the podcast live.
I'm doing it right now. I'm editing it right now.
That's why we're wearing shades, so you can see the rest of the work.
Guys, it's time to talk about something which feels like it came out forever ago in terms of us recording the podcast, and it's actually kind of hard for me to recall it almost, but it was only Thursday. We saw Fast 9, didn't we, Charlie?
We saw The Fast and the Furious 9.
F9, The Fast Saga.
The Fast Saga.
I've been breaking Teri in to Fast and Furious, but she is yet to see F9. Teri, as we just give our review to the viewers, how much do you want us to go into spoilerific detail?
I don't want anything that's going to spoil my enjoyment of watching it.
Okay, so so can we talk about Han? Because you already know he's coming back, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Hey, look, Matt. We don't need to spoil shit, mate, because it's all spoiled in the trailer.
That is true.
All the news announcements about them going to space and that Han is back, they're all the big spoiler moments. You don't really... Yeah, like... So they kind of, but yeah, we won't, from the little details, we won't say those, but pretty much a lot of the movie is in the trailer.
You're right. The trailers which told the story of Vinny's long lost brother, Dom Toretto's long lost brother, played by John Cena, and the return of Charlize Theron's villain, seemingly working together, and Han returning, and the possibility of space. That was all teased. And yeah, you're right. There wasn't really any other surprises, was there?
No.
I can't think of any.
The only surprise I got was that UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou was in it, and he's in the trailer in a scene that we laughed at in the trailer, and I didn't realise it was him, and they just disposed of him.
Is it the moment where Han lets the mine go and it attaches to him?
On the parachute? Yeah. That's Francis Ngannou for everyone who is watching the trailer and hasn't seen the film yet.
Well, now I have to watch it if Francis Nyong'o's in it.
Exactly.
I think you will enjoy it, Teri.
Okay.
But it's also, in my opinion, overly long.
Okay.
Bolstered by some fantastic car stunts and chases. But it's also the first Fast and Furious film where it's really starting to set in that the band's starting to split up, you know? I kind of likened it when I came out of the screening to the later seasons of Community, you know? Almost all the gangs there, And everyone that the gang's there, I like a lot, but it hurts that we're missing just one or two of the real key members. And obviously we can't help that Paul Walker is no longer with us. But I actually think they handled his role in the movie really tastefully, and I'm sure we'll get onto that in a minute. But in terms of the actual, the characters that could pop up in the movie, like Hobbs and Shaw, I thought it was a real shame they weren't in it, and it hurt the movie that they weren't in it because it seemed like in their absence there was no one to rein in the bald triangle of power, and Vinny just took over the triangle of power, and most of the movie is Dom Toretto, but not in a good way. Where's the team camaraderie gone?
Can you make me like a full fat cut and just cut out the shit and give me the good stuff? I like the theatrics and the car chases. That's what I want.
I wouldn't want to re-edit Justin Lin's work, and I think that I wouldn't want to put it any other way, because the thing with Fast and Furious is the fact that it's 2.5 hours long is so ridiculous that it's Fast and Furious. You know what I mean? The fact that Han comes back and his death has now been retconned not once but twice is so ridiculous it's Fast and Furious. The fact that Mr. Nobody does not appear in this one other than on a laptop screen and in flashbacks is so ridiculous it's Fast and Furious. The fact that they have a conversation referencing Star Wars characters, Charlie,
they do,
is ridiculous. And it just, you wouldn't want to cut anything out as tedious as it is at 2.5 hours. I think there's a better cut in there, but
I do too.
But it is what it is, do you know what I mean? F9 The Fast Saga, 2.5 hours long and rife with flashbacks that you don't really care about.
It's true. But, that being said, you do get to see the... you do get to see the exact reason why The Rock and Vin Diesel fell out, and that is because this is the Dominic Toretto movie where everything he does is awesome, and he's watched a David Bond movie. A James Bond movie. David Bond. He's watched. I'm just not with it today. David Bond. David Bond. Sorry, I've got David Brent's face on James Bond's. Anybody anyway. He's watched the James Bond movie and he's thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to nick that shot where he goes falling into the water and you think he's going to die for a bit. And you have Vin Diesel or Dominic Toretto, sorry, having like super strength and pulling stuff down and fighting multiple, like over 20 enemies at the same time, whilst also getting the shit kicked out of him, but not being bothered about getting the shit kicked out of him, instead worrying about what Michelle Rodriguez's character is doing, whilst he's getting literally stamped on by like 20 dudes, and he's fine. He's like this. Like, imagine him getting kicked, and he's like, yeah, I got to go over there, go to there, and then.
That's the standard we all hold our men to.
Yep.
Be looking for us if you're getting
Dom Toretto,
kicked.
no one can measure up.
And also just to go on with the justice for Han, I mean, in my opinion, justice was not served for Han, Matt. I don't know how you feel. In terms of, there was not enough for me. They brought Han back and he didn't really feel like he really had a purpose, whereas I feel like you could have really made that a big moment. And it kind of is, but like it's not played enough. I really feel like that could have been a big moment. He could have been really, really integral to the story, into why they're going to space stuff. He kind of is, but
I think the problem though is, like, if you look at it on a plot level, because he brings in that other character, it turns out is the key to this world-ending device. Like, I don't want to get into the details of it because you just need to see it. It's incredible. But in terms of the actual movie, aside from the plot, Dom Toretto infects every scene with his attention. So even though Han on paper is quite integral to the movie, I feel like in the actual edit, he just dissolves into the background as much as everyone else does. Like, Tej and Roman and everyone who I usually really enjoy. I did enjoy in this one, but I just feel like there's a certain element of self-awareness and fun from the previous ones that I feel like was kind of lacking in this one. And I don't think it's so much Justin Lin, but the fact that there's a different writer. Chris Morgan has not returned, and he wrote every single one since Tokyo Drift. And I think you can really feel that.
Yes, I would agree to some extent, although I must admit that I still think they kept the charm for me of Ludacris and Tyrese. His character, is it Tej? Is it Tej? Ludacris' character.
Yeah. Their highlights were the stuff in space, I thought.
Yes, but also I did like. There's kind of a meta. Yeah, I know that sounds really good. There's kind of a meta joke that Tyrese points out, where he kind of points out the craziness of how they're all still alive after all these insane stunts they do in the movies, and I was very much enjoying that, and I thought that was quite funny. But it didn't have enough of that with the other characters, like it usually does, like you said, Matt, with the big lines. I would like more justice for Han. I would like justice for Francis Ngannou as well, I mean, where's Shaw at? Where's Hobbs at? You know. I need that. It was missing. It was missing.
I
didn't think it would be, but it was.
It really was, because you're missing scenes like, Scott Eastwood making fun of The Rock, someone in the background, big mistake. The Rock literally picks him up, turns him sideways and smacks him against the wall. 2 scenes before he's like daddy-daughter daycare. Like all of that sort of ridiculousness I just feel like was kind of lacking, and instead we got this long, laboured backstory about John Cena and Vin Diesel's characters. Instead of what we came there to see, John Cena versus Vin Diesel. I thought the movie was actually really lacking in that department.
It was, yeah.
And I feel like they wasted John Cena a little bit.
They did. They spent too long trying to explain how he's his brother and why they're fighting each other, and not enough time of them actually doing the fighting with each other or the conflict. It's funny hearing you say that, because you're like, yeah, it didn't go silly enough, and I'm sitting there going, they literally go to space and Vin Diesel picks a guy up and then like turns him to his side and then smacks him on a pole. But I still understand what you mean. Like, but that's what's so weird about it. I can't quite put my finger on why I think it's not as strong as some of the others. I do think the length, it really affects it. And I do think making it the Dominic Toretto show really affected it, because
from the way you've described it, it feels like it's being apologetic where it hasn't been before. It's not just saying, here's a whack scenario, John Cena's a brother, believe it, even though you believe we're going to space. We're going to apologise and explain it.
Yeah, that's interesting actually. I think that's a good way of putting it.
I think so.
Because I would have believed John Cena's sprung out of the blue. We've never heard of him before, but they have this backstory and now they're fighting. Because we'd be sat there going, I can't believe this. He wasn't in any of the other movies and he's come out of nowhere. I think that, Terry, for someone that hasn't seen it, I think that's actually so stupid, because that is exactly
same.
That's
actually spot on, to be fair. Like, I could have really done with the way he enters the film, right? And then him going, who's that? It's my brother. Wait, what? And then for the next of the movie, maybe he goes, yeah, we pissed each other off once, and yeah. That's it. That's all I need. I didn't need to spend so much time explaining his brother and why they're not friends anymore. And
so my real question is, how was the acting?
Well, I just thought, as someone who went to drama school, I just thought the acting could have been really conventional in a movie like this. But I think they actually took it past being conventional, and they really thought about all of their devices and the devices that the audience would be using to connect with the performance. I don't know if you've ever read The Actor and the Target, but there's a lot of references in that I think would be really useful for dissecting this.
Yeah, and because I also went to drama school, I also believe that the characters, like, they didn't rely on notes or anything. It seemed like they were very much in the moment with every performance, especially Vin Diesel when he broke that guy's back. I really felt that he really understood in that moment how it would feel to do that to a person. Yeah, it was pretty wizard. It was pretty wizard. But seriously, though, I'm really glad.
I'm a bit sore. I've been bodied. Jeez, sorry. I like cars, broom, action, space.
Is that us?
Yeah.
Well, last week you got me with the old jiu-jitsu thing, didn't you? So everyone has to have their jumpification.
And the week
everyone does
before
have
I
to
got
have
Matt
justification.
as white guy with a podcast. I suppose it is.
I
my
mean,
turn.
Matt's always a chump, so it doesn't matter. You know, we pity the fool. So.
Really? Really?
Me and
See
Charlie
that?
talk about
You
it
see
all
that,
the
ladies and
time.
gentlemen? Everyone's just saw. Everyone see that, right? That moment you just witnessed right there is where the Terminator laser lock of Matt's ready to come back and roast me locked in right there, and I can't wait for what's going to come out next. But I'm expecting to get roasted.
Time that I just
It's so
I
I love
accurate.
like
it.
stare
I can
at
see
you
it.
and
I can
tick
see
back.
it. Yeah. He like analyzes
It
my body
happens.
as if like
And
he's gonna find
his
what he
nostrils
needs.
flare. His nostrils flare.
Rectification. I'm not looking at me. I can see like the fucking targets.
Oh, look, it's okay. Look, I don't have to wreck you because I'm wearing a bolo tie, and everyone knows that the man with the bolo tie is king.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
Sorry.
Mobius Strip is the other one that's great, and also Bolo Young. He's also
Bolo Young.
Bolo Young. Yeah. That's the guy.
Well, obviously, we can't really trust anything Charlie says because he's not wearing a bolo tie. But we don't hold that against him. And maybe next week he can get a bolo tie, and then he can stop being a little bitch.
Oh,
Oh my god. Oh, fighting talk.
That's,
everyone. Fighting talk.
Charlie, can you taste that? It's a bit of
No,
salt in the
I
air.
know. He got hurt, isn't he? He's a bit butthurt. The squeaking
See, look,
is his butt.
Viewers,
It's on the chair.
let me let you in on a little secret, right? This is the next tactic they pull with me, all right? After I've given a little counter sizzle, not even the full Rex yet. We haven't even started winding up yet.
They're still
saying that I'm butthurt and that, you know, they're really getting to me. And to quote Jon Favreau and Chef, "You're not getting to me. You're not getting to me. You're not getting to me."
I am not needy. I don't care what you think. You're not getting to me. I'm not needy.
It's molten.
It's fucking molten. See? It's fucking molten, you asshole.
Wow.
Narrator, they were of course getting to him.
We should just zoom in on Matt with a single tear.
Yeah. Da, 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 da.
Lord.
Play
Well,
the sad
you know
Final Fantasy
what?
music.
I do feel like shedding a tear this week because after Teri put me through Temptation Island, where I watched multiple men and women watch their partners cheat on video, I've now watched what can only be described as the scripted form of that in Netflix's new series, which Teri begged me to watch, Sex Life.
I did not beg. I showed you the trailer and you said, that looks sexy, let's watch it.
The case is cold. Charlie, if you've never heard of Sex Life, it's a show about a rich middle-class woman who is happily married with the perfect guy. He's in a suit, gorgeous ripped body, got some sweet job where he's literally every other scene he's talking about the merger or the new company plan, all the cliches. He's called Cooper and he is a sweetheart, right? But the problem is, right, he just doesn't screw her like the guys before in her 20s used to screw her, right? And every single scene at the start of every episode will be some flashback to her shagging, and then it will smash cut to her doing something with her kids. So it will be stuff like
That's so weird.
No.
It was
She gets her nipple sucked in one scene, and then it smash cuts to her waking up and the baby's being breastfed.
What?
It's a sexual scene, and then it cuts away. Yeah,
That is a weird transition.
And it is so raunchy.
Yes.
You see everything.
Well,
At
Game of
one
Thrones
point
style.
there are dicks on the screen.
everything. You see
All of it.
what Batman won't dare to do. You see all of it, right? And it's literally every 10 minutes there is another raunchy sex scene or montage. Yeah. And the story is all narrated it's the most it's the quickest
She's got a
deliveries.
journal.
Yeah, she's got a journal where she writes everything down, and that's how the narration works. And the whole show is like this quick delivery system of plot beats intercut with softcore porn. It is a...
Sounds bizarre.
But you can't look away.
No, you can't look away
I can
because it's so scandalous. Like, for example, right, the bad boy that she can't stop thinking about, right? I can't believe they did this. He's... the Cooper guy is looking him up online, and he finds him on the cover of Rolling Stone. He's always, by the way, wearing leather jackets. Like, he's
Brilliant.
that sort of bad boy
Yep.
in a rom-com, you know?
Yep.
Leather jackets, vest, dog tags, like, always sweeping his hair, like, walking around, right? He says things like, fear is relative, right? He says stuff like that.
Such a douche. He's such a douche.
He's looking him up, and he sees a photo, because he's a music producer, obviously, a hotshot music producer who owns his own company. He's got a photo photoshopped with him and Jay-Z. And I had to actually go back and look at it and be like, was that Jay-Z? Oh my god.
that's
And
so
on the cover
funny.
of Rolling Stone it says an interview of the bad boy producer. So he's just like the coolest man on the planet, and
Yeah.
he's obviously like the greatest shag known to man. And-
We also get like some full frontal from him, and he is packing.
Yeah, he's huge. And Cooper is the character that you see it through. He's the husband, and he's like basically like, oh no. Because, mate, he finds extensive writing from his wife talking about how much she misses this guy and how much she wants to fuck him, and how
And also,
Cooper just
her-
isn't hitting it like he does.
That's some
Her
Temptation
best
Island
friend-
shit, isn't it?
Her best friend is fucking Brad
Oh yeah.
as
that
well.
sounds
Brad
insane.
is... Oh, he's called Brad, by the way, the bad boy. He's called
Oh
Brad.
yeah.
There's someone out there who's watching Sex Life right now. He's like, fuck's sake, I didn't know that yet. Damn it.
Oh yeah. Full spoilers for Sex Life. We're only 4 episodes in at the moment, aren't we, Teri?
Yeah,
But
and
it
it's all
got-
out. It's all out. Go and watch it.
It was very raunchy, and then it got incredibly like nasty in the last
Yeah.
episode. Teri,
Like-
do you want to field Brad's evening with his mother?
Yeah, so it started, like, first he went to his mum's and they were having, like, a lovely time. Like, he'd brought along the main character, Billy, and, like, was introducing her to her mum, like, buttering her up. And then, like, his drunk stepdad walks in and he immediately is like, I didn't know he'd be here, get out, get out. And then his drunk stepdad starts, like, abusing him. And then he, like, friggin' chucks, like, a glass at the wall. And they storm out and he doesn't explain anything. And they go down and she's like, why don't you just talk to me? Like, let's just talk about it. And he's like, he then starts on her. And it's like, you have daddy issues. You need attention from men. Like, you're a little slut because you slept with me on the first night and stuff. And it was like,
You're not my girlfriend. Like, I don't even like you. And then he gets in the cabin, like, leaves her while she's like in tears.
Yeah, he's like, you're not special, you're not special. And she's thinking about this guy 8 years after this. Like, sorry, what is wrong with these women?
But
Go and
Cooper's
find a
not
man who
hitting it.
respects you.
Cooper's not hitting it.
That's it, innit? That. This is
And
weird,
you know what?
yeah.
It is a really scary position to think that you're going to be in when you get to sort of being... Not that I worry with you, we've had this conversation. But I think it's every woman's fear. It's a fear of mine. I think
What,
sex
that,
is very
like-
important. And if he's not hitting it, then that's kind of a deal breaker.
But, like, the fear that an old ex-boyfriend who I don't know about in a leather jacket, vest and dog tags, who's also a bad boy music producer,
I mean-
who flirted with the likes of Jay-Z and a
It's
Grammy.
less the Brad part and more the Cooper part.
No, I understand. But it is designed to tap into the pleasure centres of middle-aged women.
Yes.
Because she has got it all, and she's got beautiful husband and kids, but it's all about going back to her youth and having this nostalgia for it, and every single scene is so fucking scandalous. Like,
Yeah.
by the end of episode 4, she's what? Oh, by the way, Brad sets up a camera in her friend's room without her knowing, without her consenting to it, and then he fucks the friend whilst the main character watches, and then the main character masturbates watching it. That's how the 4th episode ends.
That is, I think that last bit was really problematic. I think it's done really well up to there, and I think this last bit has
Yeah.
consent issues. It's a bit weird.
He basically,
So-
she really firmly says no to him,
Yeah.
And then the whole scene plays out where he keeps being like, oh yeah, but like, come on. And like...
She says no multiple times and he keeps like putting his hands on her and like caressing her. And
it's strange in a post-Me Too world to have that. I think the rest of the sex in it, I think is quite refreshing in the sense that, you know, like there's been a lot of like sanitation in the last few years in like terms of sex scenes, both, you know, on TV and in film. Yeah. And to see Netflix go European style is pretty funny. But that scene in episode 4, I agree with you. It was like the whole bad boy thing with Brad in episode 4 was way too much.
Yeah, it was too much. But I mean, I think there are pressures from audiences, especially like if you look at like within romance games, romance novels. Sorry, I couldn't say that. There are pressures that they think the way to make money is to push those boundaries. However, they don't do the research in like the correct consensual way to push those boundaries. Very much like the likes of 50 Shades of Grey, which is a horrific representation of the BDSM world. So like, it's a really hard line. It's not a hard line to walk if you really have sensitivity coaching and really look at like really take into account what women actually want and like the consent around that stuff, because consent is really sexy. You know, so I think it teeters on a line and sometimes it just misses the mark, and that episode really, really missed the mark.
I think that's what used to always blow my mind with like 50 Shades, like because I watched the first one, and like obviously like there was loads of women that loved those movies, and I was shocked because I was like, he just keeps turning up like at a house and stuff, and the only reason people like it is because he's rich and he's good looking. If that was I don't know, Philip Seymour Hoffman, you'd be thinking it's a different movie, wouldn't you? It'd be a completely different movie. It's really weird.
No, those books are so
Hoffman,
problematic.
No disrespect.
Yeah, I think it's all this sort of romanticizing of like quite abusive traits in relationships from both parties. It kind of stems from this need, like particularly with something like Sex Life, to just be as melodramatic and as exaggerated as possible. And to do that, it means, like, you know, rather than them just having an argument, he's got to slut shame her and shout at her and say she's not even his girlfriend, and like throw a fucking thing at her window, and you know, like it has to be like so dramatic. They're chasing that drama, and it's that, I think that's why it strays into that, it crosses that line.
Yeah.
But it is an insane show.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Sounds mental.
It is very very cliche though. It hits all the tropes, every single one of them.
But look, baby, I'm not gonna lie. It was making me horny. Some of the episodes watching it, it was making me a bit horny. I'm not gonna lie. Some of it is pretty naughty,
pretty raunchy.
Baby, some of it, if you want that on the internet, you put that on the internet.
Look. I'm sorry. It is perfectly okay because the show, its MO is designed to make me horny, baby.
Yeah.
And it made me horny. It made me randy.
Oh dear.
But Austin, that's my mother.
Also, I just feel sorry for Cooper. He's, you know...
Yeah, you've expressed very strong feelings about being Team Cooper, haven't you?
He's living out his worst nightmare. And also,
it's a horrible nightmare, isn't it, from the sound of it?
He reads all of that stuff about this other guy, right? And he's
detailed? Is it incredible in descriptive detail, like the stories we all know? Is it?
Yeah, mate. The worst stuff you could ever hear, right? And his answer to all this is to turn up, give her this new designer like Louis Vuitton dress, and take her out for a night on the town, and then go and break into someone's pool because it's really sexy, and that's kind of what she expressed that she wanted. So he listened to her from the journal, and then he has sex with her there. And then they escape, and he makes this really daring thing, and he does like all this, and it's still not quite enough. He still can't quite hit it right, and she's still thinking about Brad. Yeah.
Tragic.
It is tragic. It's tragic to watch.
That's what the Joker movie should have been about.
Or some guy just getting majorly cucked.
Yeah, he just can't do it anymore.
I mean, he hasn't actually been cucked yet.
No, but we've both agreed that
Yeah.
sex between the two leads is inevitable, isn't it?
Oh, I hope not. I hope that she doesn't have sex with Brad.
I think
Billy,
she will.
if
She's
you're
Brad the
listening,
Chad.
don't have sex with Brad.
Baby, she's masturbated to a video of him having sex with her friend. And also, I would go as far as to say that, like, she does not just want to have sex with this man. She is full-blown in love with him. She's obsessed
Yeah.
with him. And she's married with kids.
I just
And he
needed
says
to
fear is
realise
relatives.
Oh, yeah, he says, like, things like that all the time.
he's so
Also,
cringe.
his excuse for being such a dick is that Daddy never loved him and left when he was 8. Motherfucker, my dad left before I was born, alright? And I turned out just fine. So there's no excuse for you. And also,
Well,
like,
I think maybe he's justified, actually. Maybe, I mean,
He's
you seem
justified.
pretty similar
Dad-
from what you've said, really. You've also got
Fear
the
is
new
relative.
mixtape with Jay-Z, haven't you, coming out? Oh, shit, sorry, was I not supposed to say that? Oh, shit, that was...
No.
That was one of the
no,
patrons here, wasn't it?
Yeah, I do like wearing my dog tags and stuff. But you know,
The bolo
see,
tie's better.
Where the bolo tie is better. Where me and him differ is that my dad never contacted me and in fact tried to get out of paying child support. Steve Ringer. But his dad was different. His dad sent him records rather than sending him letters or any kind of affection. He sent him records in the post for years after he deserted him. And he's going through it and it is the biggest cringe. He's like, he sent me Nirvana, the Beatles, Dre, the Legends, and I just fell in love with music. And I knew I had to make my own record company.
So lame.
Because one day, Daddy would come back and accept me, but of course he never did, and that's why I can't love, and that's why I'm so sorry that I was so horrible to you earlier. And she accepts it.
Wow.
Terrible.
It's unmissable TV.
Sounds phenomenal. Sounds like Fast and Furious for sex, and I need to watch it.
It's kind of like Fast and Furious for sex. Yeah. Fast 9 and
Speaking
Fast
of-
30 seconds.
It still could be called Fast and Furious. That's the best bit about it.
I mean, it really could, couldn't it?
Baby, can we try the Tokyo Drift tonight?
Amazing. Can I invite Hobbs and Shaw?
That was good. That was good. That was good. Oh, mate. Can you imagine if she invited Hobbs and Shaw? Oh, what are you
I'm a
gonna
dead
do?
man, mate.
What are you going
I'm
to
a
do?
dead man.
Oh, no. The
There's
Rock
no way
and
I'm measuring up to
Statham.
that.
Oh, no.
I can't measure up to that height-wise or laying down bone-wise.
It's
They've
right.
got-
You and
they've got
Statham are like the same height. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, I could beat him in a hair contest.
Yeah, I think you got that one, mate.
That's literally it.
Aww. Speaking of going fast and furious and working up a sweat, Matt and I also saw a film in the cinema this week.
We did. Cinemas. Who remembers those, eh? Yes.
Yes, we went to the
We,
Curzon cinema, which was lovely.
We did. The Curzon Oldgate. It's a lovely little... Well, yeah, it's not really a little cinema. It's a lovely cinema. And, yeah, we went and saw Sweat. It's a Polish film. And it's about an influencer who gets a lot of fan attention that sometimes is quite toxic and negative. And also it kind of delves into her everyday life, being an influencer, what it kind of means to have a fan base, how it empowers you, how it humiliates you, how you always have to be on and present like a certain version of yourself. And I loved it. That was Teri's cue to
Sorry.
come in, but I think she's frozen. Or
No, but
was
I
she
like
just
that.
Am I back?
I like
Hello.
that because it was what you said was like, I guess technically, Matt, you being a YouTuber and stuff, popular YouTuber, you could say that those kind of fit to you. So the way you was like, afterwards, I like it. Not that, just it tickled me on the inside.
I definitely would say that I connected with it.
Yeah,
And the saddest I've ever been doing YouTube and the lowest points of it and the times when it's really not been motivating, I think are very much distilled in this film. And yeah, I did connect with it. It's weird because it's like she's doing a completely different realm of online culture,
Yeah.
but the way that, you know, she has to interact with people and always be on and stuff and present this certain version of
The
herself.
similarities,
yeah,
Yeah,
I found it
cross over,
interesting
don't they?
because
Absolutely.
I think sometimes people on the internet, like, you know, I think by and large the internet has really surprised me, and I think a lot of people are very lovely, very enthusiastic. Obviously, you still get haters going to hate, you know, occasionally, as with anything. But I find the positive comments far outweigh the negatives. But at the same time, a negative comment will be the comment that ruins your day. It'll be the comment that you dwell on. It'll be the comment that makes you, you know, rethink. Oh, is this video I'm editing utter shit? And even as much as you tell yourself you don't want that negativity to overcome you, sometimes it can. You know, the whole
Absolutely.
job is peaks and troughs, and working a balance between doing what you're passionate about and paying the rent.
Yeah. There's anything
so,
creative, really, isn't it? It's the process of anything where you put
It's
yourself,
so
you
true.
put something out, you put a creative endeavor out there, because it's, you know, you're being vulnerable to these people. You're putting something of yourself into these things and allowing people to, you know, be part of your opinions or shit in your opinions, and that's when it becomes.
Sometimes people just treat you as less than human, or they talk about you in less than human ways. One of the things I really find interesting is when someone will... This more happens on like former videos, you know, I've had in the past, someone will comment something quite mean, and then if I ever respond, it doesn't even have to be like, I get snarky back, just like, do you know what I mean, I answer their question or whatever. They'll come back, because obviously they didn't expect me to reply, suddenly being really nice. And that's always like the one that kind of grinds my gears the most. It's like, oh, now that you thought I was going to reply, you're being nicer to me?
It's
Like,
weird.
come on, just treat people on the internet how you would like to be treated, and we're golden.
Yeah.
With all
But
things
yeah, sorry,
alike.
Terry, you sort of crackled and popped and
Sorry, I think my
sizzled,
Wi-Fi
and
is
we didn't
going
really
a
get
bit
to hear your
funny.
opinion on the movie. It's on the blinkers.
Yes, so I felt kind of like, can I just take a pause and get my actual laptop charger, because I've got one plugged in, and I think that's why I'm going crackle poppy. So let me just come to the living room and grab it. We don't seem to have a time limit
In
on
the
my
intro-
meet, so...
No. I got told our Zoom's been upgraded. So in the interest of keeping this podcast raw and wriggling, I'm going to continue to talk about sweat whilst Terry goes against the charger. So yeah, I would say, Charlie, that it's got a lot of nuance to both the fans and the people that they idolise. I think it's got some wonderful examinations of loneliness and humiliation and
Oh my god.
sexual politics as well. There's a really fantastic moment that I can't spoil.
Yeah, no.
It's so hard to talk about without spoiling it. I really don't
Yeah,
want to
it's
spoil it, because I
difficult,
think you're really going to like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're interested at all, people at home, in anything that sort of deals with very modern times and very current culture, in a similar way, although it's completely different tonally to how Mitchells and the Machines did it, something that, you know, can only have been made today with the influence culture that we have, then I think Sweat's a really interesting film to watch.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
I kept feeling like it was a horror film. Like, I kept, like, waiting for everything
good.
to, like, twist and
sounds
turn.
cool.
Like, I was, like, tense the whole time, every scene. And, like, I remember at the beginning it said about injury details, so every time, like, something happened, it would just make you feel like she's, like, about to get injured or something bad's about to happen. It's really, like, tense, really uncomfortable.
That
I
sounds
was
really,
really
cool.
interested.
I like the thought of it being like an influencer-based thing that kind of feels horror.
And there were some, like, really cool shots of her, like, working out, and, like, it's, like, just, like, moving, like, as she's jogging, and it's, like, sort of going out of focus and out of frame, and it was, like, oh, and then there's a bit in the gym, and she's, like, really, really working. You can feel how uncomfortable it is and how hard it is.
Yeah.
And, like, it's done so well, really well.
They really get across the exhaustion of her job and the exhaustion of exercise when you don't want to do it. Also, there was some really wonderful shots that I think you'd like as a Brian De Palma fan, in terms of it's making you guess who's watching her, or like what sort of lens we're watching it through. Like, there's this great shot that sort of like comes up as she's going up the stairs, and she's live, like, tweeting her journey back into her flat, and Teri turned to me and went, she's giving away to everyone on that live stream
Where she lives.
what floor, but
Yeah.
like exactly where she lives, and because the camera's coming up with them, you're getting that as well because you can clearly count like the 3 doors. I just think that was a really nice moment, and the whole film's chock-a-block with all that kind of stuff.
That's cool. So it goes to the school of Hitchcock. It sounds.
Yes.
It sounds. Cool.
Yeah, it's way more horrific than I was expecting. Way more gruesome than I was expecting. Way nastier than I was expecting, but also way more cathartic.
Yeah. I
That
agree.
definitely sounds like my cup of tea from everything you guys have said.
Yeah.
I'm very looking forward to seeing that now. I'm going to try and make sure I see that this week.
I would recommend.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic.
Is there anything else you guys would like to chuck out there this week? I mean, we've been talking for a little while, and it's been getting dark in real time behind us.
No,
That is true.
I think we've been
I've got a
going
little-
for... Oh, go.
I got a little side Saga tour just to round it off. Doesn't have to be too long. I watched
Go
a
on.
movie called The Endless. And this is directed by a couple of guys. One's called Mirren. I can't pronounce their names. I can't remember their names.
More and Benson, isn't it?
Mirren and Benson, that's the one. And they went on to do Synchronic, which I know that you've seen, Matt. I haven't seen yet. I'm looking forward to seeing that. And essentially, it's about these 2 brothers, starring Morton and Benson, who leave a escape, essentially, like this cult that believes that when you die, essentially, that you live forever, and they kind of worship sort of a higher power, kind of alien UFO death cult sort of thing. They escaped, but one of the brothers struggles with life, sort of in the normal world, because he's only known to be part of that cult. So he basically convinces the other brother, who's very against it, to basically spend one more day, sort of, to go back there, and just because he has like kind of like rose tinted memories of what it was like, and they basically decide to go back there so he can basically prove to him, no, they were a weird cult and not this great sort of family that you thought they were.
That sounds
and-
so good. That sounds right up my street. I really want to watch
Yeah,
that,
sounds super
actually.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'll like that.
Yeah.
It's really low budget, and the guys I think they edited it themselves, and I bought the Arrow Blu-ray, and they show like the VFX breakdown. I mean, the CGI isn't like that good in it, but the best stuff in it is the simple scares, or the simple creepy stuff that anyone could do, but they just it's been very clever about it, and that's what I really liked about it.
Sounds quite inspiring.
Yeah, it's not the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I enjoyed it. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. I just thought it was a really intriguing concept, and I thought the problems that they solve with the kind of budget the movie had, I thought was very clever. And I enjoyed it from a filmmaker's perspective in that sense. And
I can believe it's fantastic because I really like Synchronic, and I think equally you would really like Synchronic. We should do a little swapsies.
That'd be good. That'd be very good. I think
yeah.
you'll like this because it seems that they kind of deal with similar concepts, should I say, in both this and Synchronic, from what I've heard about Synchronic. But I don't want to say too much about this one because I think there's some cool surprises.
Yeah. Synchronic is like an interesting angle on a time travel movie, and it stars Anthony Mackie and the guy from 50 Shades of Grey, funnily enough.
Yeah,
His
Jamie
name escapes
Dornan,
me.
isn't it?
Jamie Dornan, that's
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
yeah. And it's a lot of fun, and there's a lovely dog in it.
Aww.
But I saw it at London Film Festival back when the pandemic wasn't a thing, and I saw it with Sean Grimsley, so it's all time back to the start of the podcast. And he said to me, because he'd seen them at something before, he said the directors were really nice guys. And then they stayed for a bit of a Q&A, and I thought they were really lovely then too. So that's 2 for 2. And it sounds like they've got 2 fantastic movies as well. And I'm really excited. I'm really glad that they're now doing Moon Knight, aren't they? Because actually at the
They
Q&A,
are
I
doing
can't
Moon Knight.
remember which one of them it was. One of them teased it. They went, maybe we'll do a Marvel movie next.
That's so sweet. And I think they're a very
yeah.
good choice for Moon Knight. A very good choice for them.
Me too. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I just want to give a shout out to the guy that works in FOP in Covent Garden who recommended this movie, and also recommended that I don't necessarily buy too many Blu-rays because there's a sale coming on, which I appreciate.
Don't drop him in it.
Drop him in it. That is true. Shouldn't drop him in it. But I'm sure he doesn't watch this.
The CEO of FOP, no, the CEO of FOP's like,
I knew. Yeah, and it was funny because I jumped in on a conversation of the guy who worked there talking to a customer about how he's worried about the state of cinemas, and obviously, you know, knowing me, I can't help but in and start talking, and then the next minute I know he's talking about these Morton and Benson brothers and how I should check out their movies. So, and because I heard enough about them already by that point, it just needed me to be in the Blu-ray shop and have the guy tell me to check these movies out for me to go and finally do it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did. So,
Fandabby Dozy.
Lovely.
Well, I think it's been a jam-packed podcast.
Yes.
I think we're finally at the end. I've been Terry Merkin. You guys have been Matt Whittle and Charlie Lilly. And you guys have been the viewers at home. Thank you very much for watching. And you can catch me on Twitter at Full Fat Videos, at Lemon Juice Lily for Charlie, and at Merkin Terry for Terry. And you can catch me on Instagram at full_fat_videos. You can catch Charlie because he's fantastic. He did the same username at Lemon Juice Lily. And you can catch Terry, for some reason, swapped it round to at Terry Merkin. But if you're watching on video, you can see all this. Why am I even explaining it to y'all?
How do you partners?
You haven't got the hat on now. You haven't got the southern drawl.
I'm not the sheriff anymore.
Aww.
Yeah, no.
We will, of course, be returning next week for... It's going to be a big week at Marvel because it's Loki episode 5 and Black Widow.
Yep.
So, yeah, we'll see how that pans out. Terry, do you think Black Widow's going to be good? You do, don't you?
I desperately want it to be good. I desperately want it to be good.
I would like it to be good as well.
Me too.
Yeah.